On The Amazing Life of Who, we're exploring Germany. It's mid-April, and I had to travel for business for a business trip to Germany, and the business trip split into two different parts. So I thought, well, as long as I got a little bit of extra time in between those two parts, I might as well shoot some video, share the experience with everyone, take a look at the different things that we come across, the culture, the food, travel in general, and just share whatever I could with you. Before you get started on the trip, you should grab a checklist and put it together. Make sure you got all the stuff you need to have before you go. There's a few things to take into consideration when you're traveling to Germany. Of course, you need to make sure you got your passport. Probably need to check on this one a month in advance if you hadn't done that already. There is a rush process, but it's better to just go ahead and get that out of the way as early as possible. You also want to make sure if you have medicines that you need to take with you, you got plenty of those. I would carry twice as much as you normally take just in case for some reason you get delayed coming back. The AC power connections are different in Germany, so you might want to make sure you get travel adapters. You can get those at most places, and they usually work with your existing 110 cord, the standard house connection. Obviously, the adapters have a different connection because the sockets are different, but just line up the two poles and push it in, and you're good to go. Occasionally, I have to flip them around, I noticed. Also, when you're removing them, don't forget your adapter. I did this more than once, and so I had to remember to go back and pull the adapter in case it comes loose. Another thing to do in advance is to get your cell phone communications all set up. You might have to add international service, and also you have to set your device up to use the international service. Also, any accessories that you might want to bring with you include selfie sticks, adapters, power cords. Don't forget that. Now, money is another thing you might want to do in advance. You, in many cases, have to go to the bank and tell them to allow your cards to be used internationally, and you have to tell them which country you're going to. The bank will have to enable those cards before you get there. Also, how to handle currency exchange in advance. You'll need money for small incidentals, in some cases as simple as going to the restroom. Okay, you're used to dollars. In Europe they use the euro, so you have to exchange your dollars for euros somewhere, and there's usually even an additional fee for that. And do not forget about the exchange rate. It's about 10 to 15% different in many cases, plus any fees. Alright, it's a long flight over, and the time zone is quite different, 6 to 7 hours depending on the time of year. So if you can take advantage of any of the airport's amenities, especially if you get free food or drinks or anything with your arrangements, you can do that, because you will use that time instead during the flight, instead of eating, to actually rest and get lots of sleep, because when you land you want to be fresh, and if you get it wrong, well, you'll end up getting to your hotel and crashing and losing about half a day when you could really be enjoying the country. So take advantage of that. Switching time zones can be tough. It's good to try to do it the day before if you can. Wake up real early, and that helps out also, because then you're fresh when you get to the when you land. Our flight left out of Birmingham and landed in Atlanta shortly after. Then we went from Atlanta, of course, to Stuttgart, where we landed about 7 hours later. Immediately after you land, you go to customs, where you'll have a custom agent who will likely ask you for your passport and a few questions about the nature of your visit. The third question they asked me was, do you have any credit cards? I thought that was strange, but I answered the question and they said, go ahead. Well, after a long flight, nature calls, so of course you gotta find some place to take care of your business. In Germany, that's a water closet. The name, restroom, or toilet doesn't necessarily translate so well. Once I got checked into the hotel, I decided to go and start exploring immediately. I didn't want to take a chance on crashing, laying in a room, losing time. As well, I wanted to find out exactly how much Deutsch I had learned. The closest area to the hotel is called Pleiningerstraat. I stopped at a little chocolate shop on the corner because I thought, hey, this could be a good opportunity to grab some great treats.